the gym. Old stomping grounds. Hank Patterson, fly fishing guide.
Riley Smith, tight end.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, you wouldn't happen to be the kicker?
No, tight end.
Again, thank you. I'm looking for a kicker for Lithia Ford's fall kickoff sale. But you're not the kicker.
No.
Yeah. Nah, the kicker's probably taller and in a lot better shape. So, okay. What position do you play?
Tight end.
Squats. Yeah, try it sometime.
I may be retired, but I still have finances to manage. With direct deposit and automatic payments, ICCU makes it easy to spend less time banking and more time baking.
RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, is going all in this season with an all-star lineup. First up, he led the Broncos to 3 conference championships and 10 20-win seasons. It's Coach Leon Rice. Next, he's the founder and CEO of RowPaint.com. He played a little basketball in high school on the driveway with his mom. It's Andy Rowe.
Oh, no. Want to just paint my house?
Now that I can do.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust RowPaint.com to get that job done right.
It's time for Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny. From what's happening on the blue at Boise State to the Mountain West and beyond. The biggest storylines, the best guests, and most outlandish opinions from 2 dudes who eat, sleep, and breathe college football. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny, featuring former Boise State quarterback and longtime coach Mike Sanford, and KTIK 95.3 FM The Ticket's Johnny Mallory on Bronco Nation News.
Season 1, episode 10. I'm shocked that the weeks are flying by the way they are. What's going on? Welcome to another edition of Ball Talk. I'm Johnny Ballgame, John Mallory, and my partner, Mike Sanford, former player, former coach at Boise State and some other places too, obviously, as a coach. And Sanford, before we get into it, and there's a lot to get into, obviously, tonight, when I see that intro and I see the young Sanford with the visor backwards coaching on the blue, I'm just shaking my head like, damn, you were so young when you had that gig. It's crazy looking back and seeing that. Do you think that too? Like, you got started in this profession so young, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's a really kind way of saying that I got real old real fast, because I'm pretty sure that was just 9 years ago, Johnny. So you're coming at me. I like it kind of coming at me hot from the start. No, I'm just playing, man. It is crazy when I look back, and I was young, man. I was young, both visually. I was young in life. I had I think at the time, a 4 or 5 year old daughter. Gunner wasn't even born until mid-season when we played Colorado State on the blue. He was born, I think, the night before the game or 2 nights before the game. And then, Griffin, our youngest, wasn't even alive. So a lot's changed in my life. A lot's changed, clearly. I'm on Ball Talk on Bronco Nation News now, and I'm not on the sidelines. And I got a few wrinkles, got the crow's feet dialed up here, and I'm not going Botox like you do, Johnny. So I'm gonna let this age show. But yeah, it's been a great time of learning, man. A lot of really good moments and a lot of really tough moments as well.
Yeah.
I feel like I've lived a lifetime since I've been in Boise as a coach.
Well, Boise State fans are going through one of those tough moments, and all fan bases go through these in all sports, where you have, the slap to the face, the punch to the gut, the kick to the groin kind of come at you in all different ways. And I think that's what happened to Bronco Nation Saturday night, obviously, in Colorado State, Fort Collins. You were there. I know BJ was staying. Is that the guest house where you're broadcasting right now? Sanford Guest House. Is that where BJ Raines and Jay Dust spent the night?
Yeah, we're live from the Sanford studio, sponsored by Anne-Marie Sanford.
Nice.
Yeah, so she dialed it up too for, BJ stayed the night here on Friday night after the CU Stanford debacle or incredible win, depending on your perspective of that one. We got home late that night after that game. I think I couldn't go to bed till 3:30. And then on Saturday night, we didn't wrap up the post game show from the press box in the media area of Canvas Stadium, I think until 2:45, 3 a.m. with record viewership. I mean, it was unbelievable seeing how many people were still awake.
I was watching. I was watching.
And it was just like one of those moments. And I've been there as a sports fan. I'd say the team that I've supported most loyally for the longest period of time was the San Francisco Giants. And after a game like that, you just need to hear something. Like you need to go somewhere. And, what a brilliant creation by BJ Raines. I think he's coming up on 6 years of Bronco Nation news. I might be a little bit overshooting it, but 5 years.
Even 2.
Not even 2?
No, he's coming up on 2, I think it is.
Okay, all right. But
he's kicking ass.
To give that outlet to fans and do it with the best people in the media in Boise. Having Jay Tust here crash on my couch in the guest house afterwards, and BJ Raines, it was kind of a very depressing kind of family gathering. Almost like we were in town for the death of a loved one. It just didn't quite have the joy that I was hoping for. It was exactly the opposite. And certainly that's why we're on tonight to get into that.
You were talking on that post-game show, your son Gunner, who's 9, he's just coming into his own as a football fan. He's finally starting to get it. He's asking Dad all these questions. So Boise State's our college team, right, Dad? That's where you went. And he's asking you these questions. Saturday night was Gunner Sanford's first ever Boise State football experience live. And you said on the BNN postgame show he had to leave, and Marie took kids home because the game was just on so damn late. And he didn't live through the horror at the end. You said you were worried about waking up the next day, having to tell him, hey, they actually lost that game. So before we get into all that stuff, what was that father-son moment like where for the first time you had to tell your son when he woke up that his team just lost in tragically horrific fashion?
Yeah, it was not an easy morning conversation. He gets up early in the morning, and he went to bed that night. Still, I think at 11:30 midnight. Just even leaving in the third quarter. When he left, the Broncos were firmly in control. He left. Anne-Marie left. Griffin, our 6-year-old, clearly left, and then Peyton, who I was so proud of, dad moment. I was so fired up. She looked at me and she looked at Anne-Marie, and she said, we're not leaving the game early. Sanfords don't leave games early.
That's
and so I've trained her, right?
Wow.
I'll tell you this, she's never left a Major League Baseball game early, and I'm taking her to plenty. Lots of Giants games, lots of Rockies game now that we live in Colorado, and Twins games when I was at Minnesota. So I was really, really proud of my daughter for that one, but she did end up being forced to leave. But yeah, I told Gunner the morning he comes out, and I go, Gunner. And I go, did you hear what happened in the Boise State game? And he goes, yeah, Dad, they won. I knew that. And I said, no, bud. And of course, I pulled up on YouTube TV the Hail Mary play.
You showed it.
And we relived it, And you know what I will say, though? Both my kids, whether, my young boys, 6 and 9 years old, they both were proudly wearing their Boise State jerseys, even on Sunday. And we are still proudly flying our Boise State flag. And it takes on different significance Johnny, living here in Colorado, and I live in Weld County, and Weld County is a it's a blue collar type community. And it's a majority of the people that live in my neighborhood are CSU people, not CU people.
Okay.
All the CU people live in the white collar neighborhoods, but us blue collar folk out here in Weld County,
with your guest house. I know.
I mean, it's really an outhouse, Johnny. But
looks like it.
All of us blue collar folk out here are CSU fans. But I'm like, you know what? Hey, and that's what I'm going to be like now that I'm actually having a chance to be a fan. I'm going to be a fan. And I'm going to wear it and not change my flags out to the Packers, even though they're coming to town in Denver here. So I'm going to keep my Boise State flag flying proudly.
If you're just joining Ball Talk and this is your first experience with it, Coach Sanford has been affiliated with a college football program every single year since he was a senior in high school. This is the first time Coach Sanford gets to be the fan. All right, fan, your football program, your alma mater, your beloved Boise State Broncos, Coach, lose 31-30. Just your overall thoughts on what happened. You saw it in person, Fort Collins, Saturday night.
It started out with a really weird first half. I was in a sea of CSU fans. There was not a Boise State fan in sight. In fact, even in the concourses, I think I only ran into, I think 3 other Boise State fans. Actually met a really nice gentleman who was checked out in Boise State, a watcher of our show. He's seen every one of our shows.
Nice.
He complimented you, Johnny, on running such a great show. And but other than that, it was a spectacle of a crowd to start off. It was an electric atmosphere. It was near a sellout, 98% capacity to start the game off. And CSU sitting in their fan, in their fan section at the 50-yard line, seven rows behind. I was literally right behind CSU's, entire team watching their dynamics, and they were a dumpster fire, man. Like I'm gonna be very honest. I mean, they on the sideline, just that there was no energy. They get 3 turnovers. So CSU has 3 takeaways in that first half, and they're trailing 17-0 at halftime.
Yes.
I mean, Johnny, I go to the restroom and it's all CSU fans around. Everybody's looking at me funny, making comments to me, and I'm just like, hey man, I'm not talking trash, but like 3 turnovers, your team created 3 turnovers and you're down 17-0. Like I've been coaching for a long time. And if I have 3 turnovers on my side of the ball on offense, on the team that I coach, I'm down 17-0 at the very least. Like that's the score line of a 31-0 victory. But CSU just kept running the ball. And there's nothing worse than watching a team that isn't a running team, not built to run. They hired Hal Mummy's son, Matt Mummy. And after every turnover, they're handing the football off to one of their 3rd or 4th string running backs because their top 2 are injured. And so it was a weird first half, kind of a boring first half.
Yeah.
And then go ahead, Johnny.
Well, yeah, just quick. When you've been on both sides of this, I'm sure you've been the team that's been kicking the crap out of another team, a lifeless team. I'm with you. That team had no pulse. They were just going through the motions, felt like they were fully well acceptive of getting their butts kicked. Like it was the inevitable. Like they were ghosts as a team. And credit to them for not being that way the whole game. 60 minutes, massive credit to Norvell and his staff in winning that game. As you know, being in buildings, they're going to commemorate that win. You're going to go to the CSU football facility and you'll see a picture of that Hail Mary. They'll commemorate it. They'll show another mural of it somewhere in the team room. Like they'll commemorate that. It was a special moment for that program and great credit for them, obviously. But you've been on both sides. Like you've been the team that's been dominating at halftime. Okay, let's stay awake, guys. Let's go. Come on, whole nother half. And you've been the team that's been getting punked at halftime and saying, hey, whole nother half. How does that dynamic go? And you got to be shocked that Andy Avalos and Boise State weren't able to, I don't want to say keep the brakes or keep the pedal to the metal. I don't even think they had to do that, just not drive off cliff. But what's that like as a coach, that whole psychological aspect of it?
Yeah, it's there, but I watched this game closely and I felt the emotion of the game. I was actually like right next to the emotion of the game, which you don't have a chance to see on the television. And it was really interesting. I felt like I was almost back on the sidelines because of where my seats were, right behind the CSU players and coaches. There was not a lack of effort. There was not a lack of resolve on the behalf of Boise State's team.
In the second half.
It wasn't that. It was, in fact, I'd say for really 15 plus another 11 minutes or so. Yeah, the game was controlled in the second half by Boise State. But Johnny, like what I see is I see a team, and I felt it firsthand more so. And I went upstairs and I joined the media. So I joined Jay and BJ with about 5 minutes to go. So before all the shenanigans broke out, I was up in press row watching with
wearing your Boise State gear in the press box.
Out. Yeah, and everybody's giving me a hard time. The sports
information. You're not supposed to do that, man.
I really don't care, dude. The thing that's cool is all the Colorado media knows me, and they didn't give a crap. And then actually, the sports information director from CSU is one of my really good friends. He was my SID when I was the head coach at Western Kentucky. So
weird.
So I'm decked out, man. I got my blue and orange Jays, Taylon green NIL hat, but neither here nor there. When I went up there, I asked BJ and Jay, I said, hey, does it always feel this just lack of rhythm? Do you feel this lack of rhythm when you watch the games in person relative to their offense? And I felt that for all four quarters. I did. Outside of turning around and giving the ball to Ashton Genty, it was a very just awkward, almost a clunky just feel of an offensive performance because of what I think is a team right now that doesn't have a clear-cut quarterback. We came out of the San Jose State victory saying, hats off. I mean, I was in my mic drop and tipped my cap to Bush Hamden for effectively calling a game with two quarterbacks, but in this game, it catches up to you when it catches up to you. I believe that. Like at some point, when you're doing something like this, it might not have caught up to you in the San Jose State game on the blue, down 27-7. But ultimately, that decision, and now we have no idea who our quarterback is. Like I looked over at BJ, 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. I mean, a CSU comeback was not even on the table at that time.
Oh, God, no. It was gross, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even want them on the field. Like they were doing nothing. Yes, man.
And I look at him and I go, BJ, who's our quarterback? I don't know. Like there's no feel. And that's ultimately, I think, what prevented Boise State from putting their foot on CSU's throat and putting this game away. Because
go for it. Sorry.
Because Ashton Genty, he came off the field. He was dinged up. It was a hand. It was something in it was an upper body, appendage injury, and he was dinged up, and rightfully so. That dude was carrying the team on his back, literally, and seeing it ground level was even more impressive than I thought. I mean, I was sitting with a big time CSU donor. He didn't know a dang thing about Ashton Genty, and he's like, wow. And I said, that is a Sunday back. And I said, he would start right now for pretty much all but maybe three SEC teams right now. I promise you that. I know that because I've seen him. And he's a real deal. So, man, that was terrible. I know that's not a huge adjective to use, but
no, it was terrible. I think I used horrific. I mean, it was just one of those games. There was not a possibility to lose. You felt, yet you lose it. And I don't know if they'll be talking about that game for a long time. I think it does a lot because this fan base, and I hear them every day on my show, every day on Idaho Sports Talk, Prater in the Ball Game, little plug for myself and my partner on our show. Like, we hear the fan base loves the fact that they've never lost to Colorado State. Okay. They rejoice in that. Now you don't have that anymore.
No,
and it feels like with this staff, a couple of those little stats that I know the fan base was very proud of, high five each other for, they don't have those. They've lost a few other of those little things here and there. And To me, it's kind of building up. They're obviously frustrated. I don't know when we want to have maybe an Ashton Genty conversation, because I'm with you 100% on that. And I think that's the number one asset Jeremiah Dickey has with this football program in the near future is the running back Ashton Genty. So my quick question to you is, as a former head coach, OC, you have a great reputation for being a recruiter. Andy Avalos and this staff, they have to recruit Ashton Genty just to stay. And they have to say, hey, here's why it's going to be better for you here than going somewhere for money and maybe more talent around you. Maybe you split carries over there. Who knows? You know what you're going to get with us. What do you think the conversations, if they're being had at all, or just the mindset you would have then about being able to keep such a special player like this kid at a program, let's be honest, in the current landscape and certainly the future of college football, Boise State's place in that is up in the air.
Yeah, I think this. I think that, Andy in this position right now, saying we love you, we need you, be loyal to Boise State. Let's just call like it is in 2023 in college football. It's just like the business world. Money talks, big guy.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Money talks. So if you don't have that quote unquote money or the NIL piece to say, hey, we're competitive, then it's got to be about something else. And it's got to be about, it's got to be about a solution to the problem that exists. And there's got to be a solution, because I don't think that Ashton Genty in his final year of college is going to want to be in the same spot that we are, at least right now. And I'll give Boise State the benefit of the doubt with a lot of football remaining, but today, and that's all we can speak on. We can't speak on the hope of what's to come in the next 5 games, because as of right now, there's no guarantee win on this schedule, including the game that I'm coming to Boise and I'm going to be a part of November, in November against New Mexico.
Okay.
That's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
Is anything a guarantee right now? No. And so there's got to be a solution between now and whatever that looks like from this staff, from Jeremiah Dickey, in terms of why his final year of college football, or final 2 years, but I think he's going to be gone after his 3rd year, and rightfully he should, Johnny. There's only so much tread on those tires, and NFL backs have to cash in while they're hot. That's just a reality. And you put 2-3 extra years on your body that you don't need to, and your tape is already elite, and your combine's going to be elite, which I know Ashton Genty's will be. There's no need to play a 4th year. All right. So we're talking about a 1-year deal, and there's got to be solutions, in my opinion, to be able to keep Ashton Genty and turn down what's going to be real money, like real money for me or you. Like that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about $25,000. We're not talking about a Ford F-150. When you're an elite back or an elite quarterback that can change a high-level Power 5 program, you're worth 6 figures, 7 figures, bottom line, period, point blank. Mm-hmm. And I know that firsthand because I've lost players that ended up making 6 or 7 figures in both instances.
You've lost guys, and they said, Coach, I'm sorry, there's $400,000 here.
You there?
We're having some feedback issue. Sorry about that. Periodic static. We have no idea why. Apologize, and hopefully it's not a huge deal moving forward,
yeah, so
Coach.
Back to that question.
We do need to get in. Yeah.
I didn't hear. I didn't hear the end of it, but I saw where it was going. Bucky Irving, University of Oregon, true freshman running back. I was the play caller at Minnesota. He was our starting tailback the last 4 or 5 games of the season. And I don't know the exact dollar figures, but I know that there's a pretty important figure in all of the business world and the sports business world that's up in Eugene, Oregon, that made that, whether he or just the collective made things right. It's real, it's happening, and don't think that anybody is going to be immune to that possibility.
All right, Coach, let's do it. We're a little late, but it's mic drop time, Coach Sanford. Plenty to talk about, obviously, brought to you by Bronco Brew Coffee. Your mic drop. Hit it, Coach.
The 2 quarterback system. It is It felt uncomfortable. I didn't believe in it. I tipped my cap a week ago to Bush Hamden. I talked very specifically about just how impressed I was that it worked to come from behind and have one of the more historic come from behind victories in Boise State history. I've even concluded my segment once you asked me the question, do you still believe in it? And I said, absolutely not, and laughed. It caught up to us when it caught up to us just 1 week later, because there's no rhythm. This offense lacks any form of flow. I don't understand how you juggle these two quarterbacks. And most importantly, if you're Taylon Green and you were the newcomer of the year in the Mountain West Conference just a year ago, and you finished off on a hot streak in the last 6, 7, 8 weeks of the 2022 campaign, and you now come off the field when the down is 3rd and 7, there's only one message that can communicate to Taylon Green. You're not good enough as a passer. What does that do to the most important player in sport, which is the quarterback player, the position of quarterback? You mess with their confidence. And so my mic drop is this. We want to save the season. We want to have a chance to beat Wyoming, Air Force, New Mexico, Utah State. One other in there. I think there's 5 left. You got me, Johnny? Who we have left?
Air Force, Utah State, New Mexico, Wyoming, and Fresno.
Fresno. Yeah, at Fresno. At Fresno. At Wyoming?
Home.
Home against Air Force, home against Wyoming. If you want to have a chance to salvage this season, stick with Taylon Green. You're our guy, and you and Ashton Genty in our backfield are going to be what gives us a chance to find offensive rhythm. All right. There's no position that needs to be screwed with less than the quarterback position. Pick one, pick TG10, and freaking roll with it. Mic drop.
Exclusively brought to you by Bronco Brew Coffee. Your mic drop right here on Ball Talk Season 1, Episode 10. Okay, Coach, we know what happened with the crazy comeback in Fort Collins. We want to know why and how the hell it happened. Let's get to our first video clip segment here on this edition of Ball Talk. And, Coach, we want you to walk us through this sucker.
Yeah, onside kick. This was the first attempt at it. E-Mac was in the position to potentially get it. The kick was elite. Very impressive kick. Took the second hop, and then a scramble ensued. But still, even at this point in time, it's 30-17, and it's under 3 minutes when you inherit it.
Is that just bad luck too? Can you coach that against that, Sanford?
You can. Obviously, Colorado State has a dynamic onside kick guy. When it goes 2 little hops and then the big explosive vertical hop, you got a shot. And where he put it allowed it to become a scramble. And as you know, you give up 7, and then all of a sudden you give the ball right back up. There's this dude named Uncle Mo, man. Jumped right on their shoulder. Here they are going to work. Shea Oladipo did some good things, but he did get isolated here on a whip route. And now we're at a 6-point ball game. This call has been called in the history of football. It is a reviewable call. It did not get reviewed. I thought these officials were not good on both sides of it. I think they were looking for this call. And ultimately, they called an illegal block before 10 yards. It was right at 10 yards, if maybe inches. But in a game like this, to make it about this white hat, and this white hat's a guy named Mike Nolly, and I had you 7 times, and I had you in the Conference USA, and I got to know you, right? And I'm not employed by a university. The NCAA can't find me. The Pac-12 can't find me. The Mountain West can't find me. Mike Nolly, you are a bottom tier white hat in all of college football. And I don't feel bad about it. You might have a great family. You might be a great man, but you, just like we as coaches, you have a job to do, and you let this game get out of hand. And I was incredibly disappointed, not in this play, because this one went in favor of Boise State. Boise State ends up recovering it. But Mike Nolly, I don't want to ever hear that name again.
Doesn't it piss you? Doesn't it bug you, Coach, when the ref, you feel like he wants to make the call of the year? Like your terminology, he was waiting for the call. Like
It's
he
hero
knows
ball.
that he could call it if he wanted to. It's just they hero ball. It's the referee's version of hero ball. They want to make the call of the year, and oh god, yeah, it drives me crazy, man. But they actually do that. That is not an officiating conspiracy theory.
Mike Nolly's going to maybe make me have another Zen, and I'm out, man. Gosh, dang it.
Stop it.
What the frick is going on?
You don't
man?
have any left?
It's somewhere else,
All
man.
right.
But I am about
Let's
the
get to
fans.
next.
Yeah, so here we
Colorado
are.
State now with the ball.
Yeah, and on this drive, it was talked about a lot about the earned first down that they got, but right here it ended up being a safety blitz. I think they were, see it. I like this call by Spencer Danielson. I know that everybody said that a corner blitzed and, Torrey Horton's now one-on-one with a linebacker. I like creating pressure. I think that the worst thing that a defensive coordinator can do in an end-of-game scenario, if all you do is watch all of Shedeur Sanders' end-of-game heroics this year, it's always against a three-man rush with no blitz, no pressure. I like that call, but you just got to get home. And they didn't get home, and all of a sudden, here's Torrey Horton down the field, spiked the football, and then the dreaded Hail Mary play. There was supposed to be a defender here for Boise State underneath the trailer. The trailer of it is the front tip guy on offense is Dallin Holker. Dallin Holker executed this onside kick in spectacular fashion. Disgusting to watch this. Makes my skin crawl. I don't want to watch it anymore. Yeah. Okay. But Dallin Holker is a CSU legend for his execution of this play. I was actually blown away that CSU stormed the field after this play. I'm talking about their coaching staff. There was a CSU coach not named Jay Norvell that was on the other side of the logo celebrating this play past the logo, literally taunting Boise State sideline. And I was like, wow, dude, now you got to go kick a plus 15 field goal. So instead of kicking, a chip shot, 25-yard PAT, now it's all of a sudden gets a little bit more nerve wracking. And I didn't like that whatsoever. It actually became a 20-yard PAT, then became a 35-yard PAT. And I thought it was going to get blocked, to be honest, because, it catches up to you when it catches up to you, even if you're CSU and you storm the field, like you got to keep your composure. But yeah, that's Dallin Holker. What he did such a good job of is most of those trail guys, you see it right there. They look for the ball from the sky. He did a perfect job of just looking at the tip. And in that moment, we teach these defenders and we play this scenario on every Friday practice. It's all about batting the ball straight down into the turf. Okay. And you can see it gets shoved vertically, and there's almost two that are running into it at the same time. And now it's actually right in the hands of Dallin Holker. Terrible luck. Yes. But the game shouldn't have been in that position. And that's the bottom line.
All right, Ball Talk, Season 1, Episode 10. We're going to bring on our first guest. Hard to believe, 10 episodes in, we have not had a guest come on to this program. We'll do that in 90 seconds after this quick break. You're checking out Ball Talk on Bronco Nation News.
All Bronco Nation News broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of premix premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone, get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line, and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number one ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com.
Get the words there. BJ Rains kicking butt as always here on BNN. Let's bring our second guest in show history. Pardon Marcus Henry a couple of months ago. That was terrific. We hope this one will be too, Coach. Sean Keeler joins us. He's a columnist at the Denver Post, wrote a column that's getting a lot of attention, a lot of traction here in Boise and probably around Fort Collins too about that game and some of the antics that went on. Sean Keeler, welcome to Ball Talk. What's going on tonight, man?
I'm good. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me and giving me this opportunity to speak to my newest favorite fans out there.
I love it. Coach, I'm gonna hand this over to Sanford. Sanford stood on the table to get you on tonight, Keeler. He said, "We need it. I want to talk to this dude, and I want Bronco Nation to be able to see it, hear it, live it, and love it." So, Coach, go for it, man. You got it.
All right. Yeah, Keeler and I, we saw each other up in the media section, and I apparently violated a humongous media rule by wearing Boise State stuff head to toe, and I don't give two flying bleeps, and I'm okay with that. But I run into Keeler. Keeler's on deadline. I say, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he goes, "I'm on deadline." And I'm like, "I'm Mike Sanford." He goes, "I don't really care." It wasn't quite that, but Keeler and I had a nice little conversation after he got his deadline. And then, I opened up the Denver Post next morning and, I'm a Boise State alum. I love this program. I was at that game, Sean. I agreed with a lot of what your column did say relative to the CSU program. But one thing that I don't think by any stretch of the imagination, one of these programs was the dirty one and one wasn't. There were an incredible amount of shenanigans that were happening on CSU's sidelines. I was sitting directly behind that sideline. Jay Norvell was all the way out on the hashes multiple times throughout the game, and then his team fed off of that. When you made the comment about Boise State and the headline being a dirty football team, defend that point, because I was at that game, Sean, and I didn't see that one bit.
Well, I think Kennedy McDowell and his parents have a hospital stay that they might disagree with you on that last point. I think that's one. I'll give you 3 words to that. Chase Martin and Oladipo. None of those things that happened on those plays. And I know you've looked at them. I know you've talked about them. I know you've run circles around that because I know how painful a loss that was for Bronco Nation. But you cannot convince me, and you will never convince me, that either hit was either legal or necessary. And I will stand by that, and I'll stand by whatever tape you put that through. Now, does that make Boise State a dirty program? Does that make those players headhunters? Does it mean that they deserve punishment in some way? Not necessarily. But was it necessary? No. Now, you could say, was calling them dirty necessary? Maybe, maybe not, but I did.
And Sean, obviously that's something that you and I've spoken about, on the phone beforehand, with regards to, you're a columnist, right? This isn't, you're not just reporting. There's an opinion piece to that. And we live in a country where that's always welcome. But I have opinion too. And my opinion is that once that play where Shea Oladipo is playing through the whistle, right? A little extra. Yes. Does that happen routinely? Abso-freaking-lutely. It happens all the time. But when you have dang near the entire benches clear from Colorado State past the hashes, and offensive lineman, I believe it was number 79, who goes and spears, after the play's done, is that a necessary hit?
5?
And is that a clean hit?
Yeah, 75. No.
75.
Yeah, that's the thing where here's one thing we all can agree on, because I'm believe it or not, I'm not a hot take artist by trade. That's going to be hard to believe, I know, in Bronco Nation. But Coach, you've seen good, bad, or otherwise. I think the refs, what we all can agree on, really struggled to get control there. Because to your point, at that moment, I'm shocked that many buffs stayed in the game, including the guy who gave the shove. I think there was a real problem there. I agree that the math on the call for 3 unsportsmanlikes to 1 somehow offsetting is a little bizarre to me. And maybe, Mike, you can explain that one to me. And if maybe that's something that needs to get looked at everywhere,
It does.
not just here, because I legitimately thought they were going to lose a third of the offensive line at that point. And they didn't. So at that point where we're sitting, as you know, you just kind of shrug and go, okay, well, this is dumb, but this is football. So explain that one to me, because I do think Broncos.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, Sean. It is a rule that if there are any, whether it's 1 or 5 penalties on one team and 1 penalty or 5 penalties on the other team in the same play, no matter what they offset, which is, I think, an absolute tragedy. It's like you're saying that a felony assault is equal to a, not running a traffic or a stoplight. I mean, or a stop sign, in a small town. I mean, it's literally what you're saying. I think it is ludicrous. And I think because of that, there should have been ejections. And I think a good crew, a good officiating crew, which Sean, I was talking about, I've had Mike Nolly, the white hat in this game many times. And this is the worst crew in college football. And it was bad on both sides. They lost control of the game.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, we all agree there. I just looked at it looking like I will give them credit that it didn't get any crazier than that. And I think it really could have, because coming off that third quarter break, I think everybody was just a little too heated, and the officials knew it and tried to do what they could. I got a question back for you, Mike, as a coach and as an esteemed member of the football community. Have you ever received an unsportsmanlike while on the sideline for anything that didn't involve playing?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Really? Because I mean, as a coach, because Norvell got one.
No, I got one every year I was a head coach. I set out for it. I'm a subscriber in managing baseball games. Like, I enjoy, when you need a shot in the arm. Keeler, if you would have really been following the Buffs last year, you would have saw that I got one last year.
Oh, see there.
As the interim head coach. Hey, if I'm going to be in that role, I'm going to freaking make it count.
Oh,
I mean, that's the bottom line.
Of all the slings and arrows, you just gave me the worst.
Hey, last thing before we let you.
About 1 in 7 we left.
I get that. Yeah, it's good. Thank you. Hey, one last thing for you. I've listened to a lot of the comment section here. You would assume that you're a humongous fan in Boise, Idaho, and the comments really do echo that, just how much you're beloved in Boise, Idaho. But one thing that's misconstrued right now is that everybody thinks you're the beat writer for CSU. Just so everybody knows, Sean Keeler is a columnist that covers all things Denver sports and even, national. And there's a lot of really fantastic takes that I do agree with, but this one hit close to home because of my affiliation and love for my alma mater in my home state now where I live. But one last thing before I let you off, you've been at the Denver Post for how many years, Sean?
5 years next week.
5 years. So you've covered the CSU program.
Yeah.
Just tell us how miserable these last 5 years have been, and obviously what this means to their program.
Honestly, there's a little bit of a dig there, and that's deserved. It's been hard. I mean, I laughed. It's like the Rockies were great till I got there. Well, decent. And the Rams had gone to 2-3 bowls in a chunk there. And then I show up, and it's kind of been, I survived. We have t-shirts in the press box. We'll have to get you one. That's like, I survived the Adazio years, because that's a whole nother NCC 17 rated podcast. No, it hasn't been fun. So you guys, here's the thing that Bronco Nation needs to keep in mind. Yes, I'm not the beat writer. Talk to Kelly Lytle. Kelly's a good guy. 2,
yep.
To give my opinions. I think Mike summed up kind of where we are on that very well. So I appreciate you making that designation. 3, and I say this with the utmost respect to your audience and to you, because I say this as someone who went to Northwestern and remembers what long losing streaks were like. Mike knows this already. That when the people when the 5 people who are still left at the game, and there were like 5, storm the field as best they can for that. That's unless it's in Boulder because they beat Cal, who are bad. Gotcha. I didn't say you were bad. They were. It's a badge of honor because I think there was a lot of built-in. I wasn't there. Was it 16 that a Hail Mary was taken back or something like that before I got here? There was a lot of scar tissue built up about that series. And to put it in another example of that Mike knows well, CU has never beaten USC. And they Colorado may never beat USC. I think you would have seen a very similar sort of release if that were the case. I think Bronco Nation can feel good that they're still considered a pretty big pelt to put on the wall, even if they are in air quotes a down year for reasons that you guys have discussed and will continue to discuss. So take that as a badge of honor, if nothing else.
Well, I appreciate Sean. Thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for facing this head on. And, hey, I always enjoy reading your takes. I just didn't like one of them, man. And that's perfectly legal. That's what your job is.
Whole country, because we can disagree and still be friends.
Absolutely, man.
If there's a lesson from there, it's that. So I'll tell you, we'll come on. Next time I'll come on, we'll talk baseball, and I can talk White Sox, and I can you can watch me suffer. You can see my real pain right there.
I can join that conversation as a Mariners fan as well. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
My heart goes out.
Appreciate you, Sean Wheeler, again. Keeler. I'm sorry, Sean Keeler. Sean Keeler for popping on. And nice to talk about that there, Coach. You got your opinion, his opinion, and we move on and talk about a lot of other stuff going on with his football program to talk about.
Yeah, Carter Davis here. He does refuse to be friends with this guy. Also Carter Davis's opinion. And I respect the heck out of Carter Davis.
He's a columnist. I think they call him shock columnist sometimes, where there's one guy that's going to say, hey, those guys are dirty yahoos. I don't give a rip. Screw everybody. Big win. Stuff it, suck it, kiss it. Right. Not that he would say those, but pretty much said a lot of that stuff. And there's reporters like that in every single town. That's their job to do. And I don't think his boss, or maybe he is, I don't know, would be mad at him for the column that he wrote over the weekend. So let's move on from that and give us a 90-second break, BJ, and let's get our Circa Sports Pick 6.
Bronco Nation News is sponsored by Tommy Alquist and Ball Ventures Alquist, Idaho's premier commercial real estate development company. BVA projects specialize in office, retail, flex, medical, and industrial spaces located at some of the most strategic and visible locations in the valley. Need a developer? Looking for new space? Think BVA. At BVA, we are Idaho's developer. The Nicolason family and SON management have proudly been operating Taco Bell restaurants in and around the Treasure Valley since 1969. One of the first to make a 7-figure donation to the Lyle Smith Society, they've also stepped up their support of Boise State athletics with the Taco Bell men's and women's basketball endowed scholarships. The Nicolason family and SON management have committed at least $310,000 by 2026. Get more information on their financial support of Boise State athletics and find information on applying to work at Taco Bell at TacoBellWorks.com. Lithia Ford of Boise is a proud supporter of Boise State athletics and the official car and truck of the Broncos. Lithia Ford of Boise supports Bronco student athletes through NIL deals, including providing Ford vehicles to Taylon Green and Riley Smith from the football team and Paige Barsh from the volleyball team. Rain's family purchased our F-150 from Lithia Ford. Couldn't be happier with the purchase. Check out the all-electric F-150 Lightning or the electric Mustang Mach-E at Lithia Ford, and make sure to check out their full inventory of vehicles at LithiaFordBoise.com. The Blue and Orange Store is the perfect spot to get all your gear for your next Bronco game. The Blue and Orange Store has official Nike apparel, including jerseys, shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, and more. Wear what the Broncos wear and get it at the Blue and Orange Store, the second floor of the Boise Town Square Mall, or get free shipping on a $40 order online at theblueandorangestore.com.
All right, pick 6 time brought to you by Circa Sports. You're going to go to Vegas. You're going to go stay at Circa Sports. It is the most lovely, glorious, wonderful sports book on planet Earth. Coach Sanford, I've been there. Can't wait to party with you down there. And hopefully I'll be partying wearing my Mike Sanford official 2004 Liberty Bowl jersey, game worn. I went 4-0 last week, Coach. You were 2-1-1
Hey, I'm still making bread, dog. I'm still pulling scratch, man. So if I'm you watching right now or watching tomorrow morning or watching even next week, probably not next week, but I'm watching Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm going with the coacher because I'm still in good graces. You're still making bread with me or Johnny.
I just got to say, people have been just following our picks, then they're up a lot of money. They should have done that. We've had a lot of success, and shockingly, I don't have this type of success usually, Coach. I was 4-0. Like I said, you were 2-1-1. I'm 19-12 on the year. You are 17-13-1. Do you have your 4 picks today, Coach?
I do, but you, my friend, won last week, so you are going to lead us off.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're not doing Boise State this week. So I think we just have our 3. And I know that's kind of rare.
I mean, I prepare for everything. I've been coaching for 18 years, so I got all the contingency plans. You know, you're down by 3, you're inside the 15-yard line, you have 1 minute and 12 seconds, and only the defense has 1 timeout remaining. I think about all these scenarios, so I got 4 prepped.
I love it, man. And I love hearing the Sanford and Son music in the background. Just to let everybody know, like, we got dinged by YouTube during this broadcast because BJ, our producer, was airing too much of the game, the highlights. So YouTube came in and suspended the broadcast because they thought we were re-airing the game. This is a Boise State show. The last thing we would ever do is re-air that game. But anyway, if you want to catch us live right now, go over to the the Facebook or Twitter. If you're on the chat right now, you can watch us live. If not, apparently YouTube's back on anyway, Coach. I'm going to start the pick 6 off. Dillon Gabriel. Legit Heisman candidate Dillon Gabriel. If OU runs the table, okay, Dillon Gabriel has a chance to squeak in there. Very good value play. I don't know what his odds are, Coach. I like Dillon Gabriel against his former team, UCF. Are you kidding me? The spread is 19.5. Oklahoma is feeling wonderful about itself, and Dillon Gabriel is having another terrific season. When this guy's healthy, hey, Coach, 16 teeters, 2 picks for Dillon Gabriel this year. They're going to kick the holy crap out of UCF in Norman, by the way. Give me Oklahoma minus 19.5 for my first pick. What's yours?
Penn State, Ohio State. Massive game. In fact, today I talked to 2 coaches at Penn State this morning that I've coached with at multiple stops. Actually, one of them, Stacy Collins, who should never have been let out of the door at Boise State. And he didn't. I mean, he went to Penn State, so let's be honest. It's the same as leaving for a place like Notre Dame. But I love this Penn State football team. I like him top to bottom. I like their defense. I like the way they run the football. They have 2 of the best backs in all of college football. They don't need Ashton Genty, probably one of the only ones in the country that would say no, because they have a backfield that is absolutely loaded. And Drew Aller, I think this young man, when called upon, is going to deliver in a big way. Penn State are 4-point dogs. I'm taking Penn State. Lock it +4. Ohio State is a flawed football team, and Penn State is a more complete team. I got Penn State going into the horseshoe. Make your bet, lock it in. Penn State's going to win. Penn State's a legitimate national title contender.
I like it. I'm going to go to the Big Ten, or stay in the Big Ten in this case. Your old stomping grounds, and this one's going to be close to the Sanford heart. I was told once by my partner, always bet the over. Always bet the under in a PJ Fleck Minnesota coach game. They play Iowa. Can't spell offense. Like, Coach, it would be a punishment if you were like, okay, ball game, you have to watch the entire Iowa game, and I want you to write me a 3-page report just on their offense. That'd be punishing, man. I would hate that. However, I am taking the over in a Minnesota game. I'm going against coach's wishes. The over-under, it's 32.5.
It's Minnesota, Iowa.
That's so low. 32.5. I can't help myself, Coach. I'm taking the over. I'm going
Iowa
against
doesn't
your
have
advice.
Cade McNamara. He's out for the year.
Can you give me 17 points? PJ Fleck, can you give me 18 points and we cover by 3 points?
If PJ Fleck gives you 18 points,
yes.
I guarantee you Brian Ferentz won't give you 14. I promise you that. Or 15.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they are. I mean, those are
this game. Now I have to pay attention to it, but give me the over in Minnesota, Iowa at 32.5. Come on.
And
Come
then
on, little
confirmed, Cade
Ferentz.
McNamara, Michigan transfer, who split time with J.J. McCarthy, is out for the season, will not play in the Minnesota-Iowa game. However, P.J. Fleck has not beaten Iowa. As tragic as some of these offenses have been for
are you
Iowa.
picking this game, or are you just ripping on my pick right now?
I am picking this game.
Okay.
And Minnesota has not beaten Iowa, period, in the P.J. Fleck era.
Yeah.
Not only is that true, Iowa, their home record at Kinnick Stadium, one of the best atmospheres that I've been to. One of the best. And they love to hate Minnesota and love to hate rowing boats.
That is annoying.
Minnesota's offense, the regression of that offense, the regression of their ground attack is real over the last 4 years. Incredibly real. And this Iowa defense is as good as it's ever been. I got Iowa covering 3.5 because I can't touch that under because 32 just looks so absolutely ridiculous. I couldn't in good faith do it, even though my heart is telling me it's going to be 10-3.
Coach,
the final score is 10-3.
There's probably 65 teams in America that I would feel good betting that they alone would score 33 points in a game in college football right now. This is a collective unit, Big 12 slobber knocking affair. I'm glad you're no longer a part of this.
Be careful. Be careful. Big 10. Because Big 12, if an over under is ever set at 32 in the Big 12, the entire United States should bet on it.
Is that a halftime over under? All right, I'm going to another game. Look, the Houston game last week might have been the most exciting game of the weekend against West Virginia. Beat them at the buzzer. I think it was on Friday night, Coach. Also on kind of a Hail Mary, if you will. Houston hosts Texas. This is a Big 12 game at TDECU Stadium. I don't know if that's where the Texans play in the NFL. Because if I'm the Houston AD, I'm not playing the Longhorns in my tiny little stadium on campus. I need to move this to where
Energy Stadium. Absolutely.
Yeah, it used to be called that. I don't know if they changed the name. So I don't exactly know where this game is yet. But I like Texas. They're favored by 23. They're coming off an emotional loss still to Oklahoma. Houston sucks. West Virginia should have handled them. They got so lucky to win that game. I think if West Virginia would have beat them like they should have, this might even be a 30-point spread. It's 23. Yeah. Texas is going to go in there. Sark's going to want to look pretty. It's a Texas thing. Hammer the little sister, little brother Texas schools, and Sark's going to do that this week, Coach. I got the Texas Longhorns laying the 23 points to the Houston Cougars. Who's next for you?
Back to the Big Ten. We got a tilt in Illinois. We have the Wisconsin Badgers, the upstart Wisconsin Badgers, who started slowly in the Luke Fickell era. They're 2.5-point favorites at Illinois. Illinois stinks this year. Okay. Illinois is worse than Purdue. Wisconsin went to West Lafayette and they boat raced, not boat rode, the Purdue Boilermakers. Wisconsin's going to run all over, throw all over, and defend Illinois' extremely impotent offense. And they have a terrible defense this year. Ryan Walters left for Purdue. They're struggling. Illinois' defense, not good. I have Wisconsin beating Illinois by at least 2.5, but I think it's going to be a lot bigger than that.
I'm going to go to the SEC. I've been making money off Eli Drinkwitz and Kirby Moore with Mizzou this year. They're 6-1, 2-1 in the SEC, really liking their position. I think they're going to win this game, Coach, but I don't think they're going to cover. South Carolina at Missouri. I'm taking South Carolina plus 7.5. I think this game will be close. Most Missouri games are. And matter of fact, I think South Carolina is the more talented team. I think Spencer Rattler, say what you say. I don't know if you recruited Rattler where you were when he was coming out. He was such a big deal. QB1, the TV shows, and he was that dude in high school, hasn't had the career, and most people thought, at least on the surface in college, but he's decent. He's an upper echelon SEC quarterback this year, and I think he's going to keep this thing close. Give me the Gamecocks, plus 7.5 on the road at Missouri.
Also, we have 2 games that are crossed over. I am also taking the South Carolina-Missouri game.
Wow.
I don't love the state of both defenses. I'm taking the over, which is at 60. I do. I'm not quite the charter member and senior vice president of the Moore family fan club like you are,
Yes.
Johnny. You are
We
the
text.
Moore. There's nobody who loves a more than Johnny Ballgame does. However, I do like what Kirby's doing with that offense, and I do like South Carolina's ability to create explosive plays and to score a lot of points. I think the over hits in that game, which is just at 60.
Okay, FS2. Hey, Bronco Nation, know where it is because you're going to be on it in a couple of weeks when you host the Pokes on the Blue. I'm going to be on FS2 Saturday night, Coach Sanford. Oh, I love digging deep, and I found a gem, everybody. You'll laugh all the way to the bank on this, okay? Investment opportunity from your boy Ball Game right here on Ball Talk. Give me the San Diego State Aztecs minus 13.5. Yes.
Ooh,
oh my
that's
God.
Scary. This is
San
scary.
Diego State has to beat somebody by 2 full teeters. Yes. There's only one team in America that's lousy enough to lose to San Diego State by more than 20. And that one team happens to be their opponent this week. And that is, gosh, Coach Sanford, please don't answer the phone if they call you. I'm talking about the Nevada Wolfpack, the worst FBS team I have seen in America this year. And sadly, I've seen like 3 or 4 of their games. They're not getting any better. San Diego State, yes, this offense, that whole deal there too. They're going to beat Nevada probably 31-7. Okay, 28-10. Something like that, 13.5. This is my favorite pick. Give me the Aztecs to cover against the Wolfpack, 13.5, Coach. And please, I'm serious, man. I'm telling my boy Jason Eck the same thing. Don't take the Reno gig.
He might have played himself out of the Reno gig with the loss to the old Montana Grizz.
God,
Hey.
I freaking hate Montana, man. I don't even want to hate Montana, but I do.
The Kibby was rocking.
was great.
rocking. But unfortunately, Bobby was hawking. Bobby Houck went in with the boys. Took a big W against the Vandals. And you know what? Maybe we don't play in the same classification in Division I football. Maybe we lost a 30-10 lead with 4 minutes and 10 seconds going as at Boise State. But I'm going to be fired up and happy because you, Johnny, have been waving your Idaho Vandal flag all year. And I'm, for one Saturday, I was a Montana Grizz fan. I was.
Drives me crazy. Did Houck replace your dad as head coach at UNLV?
Yes. And they had.
You're not supposed to root for that guy.
He was a good guy, man. He and my dad get along. They're buddies, but they have the ability to share beers and share stories of having the same result that every other head coach that's ever taken the job at UNLV's had. They both got fired. That's what you do when you go to UNLV. So we'll see how Barry Odom's doing a great job right now.
Killing it.
But show them all the cream of the crop of the conference, and then let's talk.
Hey, check this out. We tried to book Barry Odom on Idaho Sports Talk this week because Boise State's on a bye. They're kicking ass. Me and Prater love Vegas. Let's get the Vegas coach on. They said he wasn't available. There's too much going on. He stiffed us. That's how big UNLV football is right now. They're passing on opportunities to come on Idaho Sports Talk. Sanford, they're rolling in Vegas.
It's a top 10 rated show, Idaho Sports Talk with Prater and Ball Game. Top 10 in the country and number 1 nationally in sports radio. And you know what, Johnny? I'm now on the 10 to noon slot at Altitude Radio.
What?
And I got you on my bulletin board. I'm coming for your numbers.
Is that breaking news? You're doing middays on Altitude Sports Radio in Denver, Monday through Friday now?
Mondays and Fridays. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Johnny.
Okay.
But if
You're that guy.
My Monday and Friday time slot, I'm coming after your numbers, Johnny.
That means they love you, though. That's congratulations on that gig. We all saw that coming, by the way. So you'll be Sanford for Mondays and Fridays. Have you told BJ that yet?
Yeah, when he was here in town. Yeah,
I love it, man.
He acted very unimpressed. He was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, awesome, man."
BJ's doing so many big things, like things like that. Just go in one ear, go out the other. Are you done? Is that year 4?
Yeah, I had 4. I think you did 5, dog.
Yep, I did 4. Right?
Okay. Yeah, I did 4 for sure.
I did 5, man. What the hell? I gotta pick one out. Nobody called in on this. I picked 5. Okay, I'm getting rid of. I can't get rid of the under for the. I'm sorry, the over of Minnesota.
No, there was too much controversy surrounding that one.
I'm gonna get rid of South Carolina and Spencer Rattler. I'll give you South Carolina. So, all right, we got our Circa Sports pick 6. When you're gonna stay in Vegas, you're gonna stay at Circa. BJ, do we want to get some mailbag in? I know we're a couple of minutes over schedule, but if there's anything, yeah. Here we go, Coach. Question of the night: what was Coach Sanford's favorite post-game meal?
It's not even close, and the answer is not in these options here. Oh man, when I was coaching at Stanford, no, excuse me, when I was coaching at Notre Dame, all right, I'm living in South Bend, Indiana, right, and a lot of people would say that that's a horrible place to live. I loved living there.
I'd love to live there.
Living there. Okay, but when we traveled, we always traveled at the end of the season to either Stanford or at USC.
Yep.
And in both of those games, this little Southern California kid right here had a chance to have a little In-N-Out burger for the first time in months. And man, after a W against the Trojans or a W against Stanford, get that spread going, man. I didn't care if and we actually hired the truck to come.
Yeah.
So the truck would be there and it would be fresh off the grill. Man, was that good. And I know there's a lot of controversy about In-N-Out. People in Colorado don't like In-N-Out. And I'm like, you're crazy.
People in Boise don't like it. No, I mean, everyone's like, In-N-Out, it's overrated. Oh, it's not that good. A burger's a burger. I love In-N-Out too. Get off it, man. I'm going to have that burger all the time. I love In-N-Out. Hey, I got a question. What's the difference in the food overall between Notre Dame and Western Kentucky?
Western Kentucky, if I was able to fundraise in real time for meals for our players, and I'm talking about like those occasional meals, the alternative meals, not the pre and post game, but actual meals that they would eat at training table. We didn't have it consistently.
You didn't have a training table at Western Kentucky?
Nope. It was just part of their scholarship, and they had to use their stipend. We didn't have that built in, which is a huge. That's tough, man.
Huge.
But it was essentially, if we did get a meal, it was the equivalent of hometown buffet. And at Notre Dame, if we did get a meal, it was the equivalent of Joe's Stone Crab in Las Vegas plus Ruth's Chris. And it was like they flew. I'm not lying when I say this. Our victory meals, they flew in crab that was caught that morning in Maine to South Bend. And you're sitting there just succulent crab. Oh, yeah, I think I'll have a Wagyu tri-tip too with that. I mean, it was all available to you.
Surf and turf. So, yeah. I mean, is that the best? I mean, you've been to a lot of places, like just the food that you fed the players day in, day out at Notre Dame. For people that don't know, they call it the training table in college football. That's basically the team buffet. And training tables are awesome. The food there I've seen is terrific, man.
I have one take right now that I have to hold somebody accountable for this take. In-N-Out can't hold a candle to Five Guys. Get the heck out of here.
Yeah, give me In-N-Out. I like Five Guys.
Man.
I'll eat it. Dude, but not In-N-Out. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Have you had Whataburger? Everybody says Whataburger blows In-N-Out. I've never had Whataburger.
The only thing, and it's not called a Whataburger. If you talk to a Texan, it's Whataburger, period. Okay. So if you're in Texas, don't say, hey, you guys, where's the closest Whataburger? Say, hey, y'all know where a Whataburger is?
Whataburger.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's more of your standard fast food type situation. But what you do have to go when you order there is just go there and get a large milkshake. All right. And I don't care what kind you get. Just go get a large milkshake. A lot of people like I think it's called the birthday cake shake or something like that. Go get yourself a large milkshake. All right. And everything is bigger in Texas, right? That's how the saying goes, Johnny. When you get a large milkshake, it's a 44-ounce milkshake, like a big gulp of saturated fat and sugar.
How do you finish that? I mean, I can wolf down a milkshake, but I
just finish it. And you just say, yeah, I guess they're right, man.
It's that good. Like, it's so good you finish it.
Texas. I mean, It's okay. It's more just I just ordered if you order a large milkshake anywhere on the West Coast, it's 16 ounces, maybe 20. Mm-hmm. But everything's bigger in Texas, man. East Dillon forever. Clear eyes, full hearts,
can't lose. How much do you guys practice an onside kick? Boise State, this guy Ryan says, looked completely lost during both of them. If you're the head coach,
practiced it.
What was going through Andy's head when you see your staff and your players and you're a part of giving up? You know this. Nobody gets onside kicks anymore. It's like the worst thing ever because you can't stack it. It used to be one of the most exciting plays in the sport. I love onside kicks. Now it's one of the worst. You never get it. And that's crazy, man. But how often do you practice it and whatnot?
You don't practice it typically like in a game week. Sunday or Monday is kind of your cleanup practice. But then Tuesday, Wednesday are your real offense, defense days with more punt, field goal, punt return, kickoff. And then Thursday and Friday, you get somewhere between 8 and 12 cracks at onside kick. As a coach, what's running through your mind is you're just praying to God that it doesn't get the low hop, high hop. Because when you have an onside kick that's executed to perfection, which CSU's were in both instances, the low hop, high hop, I mean, you might as well just put me, in the hospital, because once I see that ball get high up in the air after 2 initial bounces,
right,
all bets are off, man. Bets are off.
And when it was like 22, 23% effect rate, I mean, that's still not much, but now it's like less than 5% of onside kicks are getting recovered by the kicking team. It's just crazy. It's like so much to the point where I've actually supported it. Give them a play from scrimmage and make it like 4th and 15. And I'd rather have to pick that up than try to do what they're doing with kicking. But obviously it worked for Colorado State. What do you think about putting both Talon Green and Mad Dog in at the same time? Would you experiment with that?
I love it. Like, now you have an opportunity to create some true pre-snap confusion for a defense. You have some conflict of eyes. It gives you an opportunity, to have 1, 2, or 3 elite trick plays with misdirection. And B, it does give you the opportunity to run some of your base run game and even some of your base pass game where it's just a distraction. And so everybody's pointing it out. So I love the idea. I think it could be a part of what needs to be a solution going forward to find some offensive flow. And I think that would be a good solution, not to play a 2 quarterback on the field at the same time question. But I do think it's a great idea. And I think that that Bush is, I know who Bush is. He's already considering that. He's been thinking about that. It might even be marinating right now. And so we'll see what happens.
We'll get to this next question, but what does it mean to you when, you look at the statistics, team stats for the Mountain West right now, total yards of offense per game? Boise State ranks number 2 at 425.4. Only Utah State is having a more successful season as far as yardage per game goes. What goes through your head the first thing that sinks in that this year, Boise State has had the second most productive offense in terms of yardage in the league?
It tells me 2 things. It tells me, most importantly, that they have talent and explosiveness on this offense. And I saw it firsthand. I saw the length of receiver. My biggest takeaway outside of Ashton Genty being an absolute, like one of the best that I've ever seen in person with my own eyes, was this offensive line looks good, moves well, length, strength. I love this offensive line. And watching them compared to CSU's offensive line was mind-blowing, how much better Boise State's offensive line looked. And then number 2, the thing that I saw, or what this means for me, is that I think the scheme's good. But Where's Utah State in the pack or in the Mountain West standings right now? Not at the top.
No.
Where is Boise State right now in the Mountain West standings? Not at the top.
Not at the top.
Show me. It's about finishing drives. It's about taking care of the football, and it's about winning football games, playing clean football, and that's where this has to go. And I'm talking ASAP.
I mean, yardage are a lot different than points, and Boise State certainly isn't. Utah State, though, for that matter, they're damn near leading the league in scoring, too. Why are they 3-4? I don't know, maybe a brutal non-conference schedule, a lot of reasons there. All right, Coach, who was the most naturally gifted, physically talented, who is the what was it, most gifted player you have ever coached? BJ put that one on the screen. Do you have one that pops in?
Jalen Smith at Notre Dame. I wasn't his position coach. He was on the defensive side of the ball. But if you want to talk, like I jokingly called him an avatar. I mean, he looked like an avatar from the movie Avatar. Like he was just a specimen, his length, his speed. I mean, he was a great looking guy. He had a smile. He was awesome in the Ohio State game, the Fiesta Bowl, the first year in 2015 that I was at Notre Dame. I watched him just going sideline to sideline, tracking down Ezekiel Elliott. And then all of a sudden, a cheap shot literally snapped his leg in dang near half. And it didn't derail his NFL career, but had he been able to stay healthy and not essentially deal with such tragic developments with regards to his knee, Jalen Smith, I think, would have been an incredible first ballot Hall of Famer type of talent in the National Football League. Just the speed.
Kind of Micah Parsons-ish, right?
Similar.
Didn't Dallas
Very
kind of a same dude 5-6 years later? Yeah, I remember he would have been a top 5 pick. All the prognosticators were saying, and that's awesome, man. Well, season 1, episode 10, Coach Sanford. Good stuff tonight.
It was good stuff, and we'll have a lot to talk about. That's for sure. As this season continues to go on, and like I said on my post game show, Johnny, is you and I, and really nobody else for that matter, knows exactly what the future is. We can talk about it, we can analyze it, we can speculate, but I'm going to continue to root for the team. I'm going to continue to root for the staff, and we'll evaluate whatever happens. And I do know that we have the talent to win every single game remaining on our schedule, but we have the talent. I said the talent, and I saw it firsthand. Okay. We have the talent to win every game remaining on our schedule, but we also have shown to have the warts to lose every single game remaining on our schedule. And it's going to be something, and we'll be staying tuned to watch.
All right, we'll see you next Monday on Bronco Nation News. Appreciate all the subscriptions. Everybody like and share this to all your friends. Coach Sanford, John Mallory, Ball Talk, BNN. Catch you next week. Good stuff, Coach.